Hey guys, how's it going? Dragox55 here. I know there's not going to be a deck or a duel video right after this one, but I figured I would tease this deck into after whatever video this is after, so that you guys get a little feel of what the deck looks like before I actually get into the duel. So, yep. So today we are showing off Evilswarm. Anyone that doesn't know what Evilswarm is, they are basically a dark deck. They're all pretty much level 4, and they make a rank 4 called Ophion, which basically stops level 5s or higher from being special summoned as long as it has a material in it. Basically, it's an anti-meta deck that prevents high level stuff from being summoned, like dragon rulers and yada yada. So without further ado, let's actually get into the deck. First off, we have 3 Evilswarm Heliotrope. Basically, his thing is a 1950 beater. It gets over pretty much anything that isn't over 2000 or over 1950 points, obviously. Little fun fact about this card and some other cards, I believe, but maybe it's just this card. This card's text is written backwards. I could spend like 5 minutes reading it, but you know, there's no reason for me to actually do that because this video will probably be an hour long. So yeah, if you ever get the chance, go ahead and read this backwards. You could just pause the video here and read it. So yeah, basically he's there to get over stuff, so. But we'll get into more detail why we have 3 of them in a little bit. Next up, we have 3 caster. Basically, when you normal summon him, just like the Castellar counterpart of these, you can normal summon another Evilswarm monster. Obviously, since it's Evilswarm, you're summoning another Evilswarm, and you can only get this effect once per turn. One thing to note, as every other monster that has this ability, when you normal summon this card and activates effect, it basically lets you have to go to your hand and summon the monster from there. There has been some talk about something. I was watching a video about Evilswarms, about how this can't be negated, or it can be, or something weird like that. I don't really know in particular. Like, if you guys want to basically figure that all out or cover it in the comment section, I would be glad to, because I know there was some discussion about this card, but basically, yeah. Other than that, just watch out for stuff that negates it, I guess. I don't know. There's something about it. I don't remember what it was though. Next up we have 3 Kirks. I guess you pronounce it Kirk. Let's see, what do we got here? Because this one I don't always understand. This one's probably the most confusing of all of them. Basically, he's a one turn rank 4 exceed, so from what people say. So I did play this deck a few times, so I wouldn't be showing off otherwise. So let's see. So once per turn, you can't. Oh, it's saying you can only activate this effect, whatever, once per turn. So while this card's in the graveyard, if it was sent this turn, you can normal summon, well, 1 Evilswarm obviously, for 1 less tribute, but considering we aren't playing Steel Swarm, I'm guessing you would play this in Steel Swarm too, because of the less tribute thing. But since it's Evilswarm, we don't care about that ability. The second part is probably what we care about, where you can banish 1 Evilswarm from your graveyard, then target 1 monster in your graveyard and add that target from your hand, or add that target to your hand. So basically you can banish a Heliotrope and add caster to your hand, yada yada. It's basically like that one Castellar monster. I don't remember the name, but it's like that one Castellar monster. I don't think I have the deck. Hold on. Do I have Castellar still? I think I deleted it because I didn't care for it. No. Okay. So yeah, it's like that one Stellar monster, which kind of does the same thing as this. Obviously you have to have this card on the field for that effect to go off though. And this turn you can normal summon. This turn you can activate this effect, normal summon. Oh, so when you add the card you can normal summon another monster from your hand. Okay, sorry about that. This card gets me confused all the time, and you know. So basically, you banish a monster from your grave, and that's an Evilswarm, and add an Evilswarm to your hand. Basically, you banish Evilswarm, so you banish Yugioh, add caster. Then, since you added caster with Kirk, caster can then be summoned because of the fact that the other effect of this. So you can summon caster and then you XYZ obviously, but you know, you can obviously activate caster's effect. You know what I mean. I hope you guys understand, because this card always confuses the card on me, and like, you know, but you definitely need 3 because he's a first turn XYZ, so not a first turn, but he's a 1 turn XYZ. Next up we have 3 Mandragora. Basically, if you control no monsters, wait. Oh, if your opponent controls more monsters, you can special summon this from your hand to the field. Okay, gotcha. That one got me confused a little bit too, because I thought it was like if you had no monsters, or if you had a Evilswarm, but no, it's if your opponent controls more. Okay. So basically, you summon it on your. Let's say you're going turn 2, your opponent summons a monster, ends turn, you bring this out, then you bring out like caster or whatever, and then XYZ. Granted, I do know that like they get random effects too, like if you were to summon caster, you get the effect of normal summon another one, so you could bring him out, then banish something, and bring back a Evilswarm and be able to normal summon again, then you can bring out like Yugioh, make Ophion, and you know, there's a lot of like normal summoning things going on. It's kind of like Stellars. I'll go over more combos in a little bit. So Thunderbird, during either player's turn when a card is activated, you can banish it, and during the next standby phase, doesn't have to be yours, your opponent's or yours, this card gains 300 and is on the field. So basically it avoids mirror forces, dimensional prisons, bottomless trap holes, whatever. Except counter traps. There we go. So basically it comes back 1950 attack points, really good. 3 of them is pretty good. You can do it off your own cards too, which is pretty good. Rescue Rabbit. We have 1 Rescue Rabbit. Sorry, my brain is still kind of confused about this deck. You normal summon this card, because you can't special summon it from the deck. Which doesn't really matter in the first place. You banish this card, and you can special summon 2 level 4 or lower normal monsters, and obviously you special summon this. You would attack with both of these first, obviously for more damage. Then make Ophion, or just make Ophion right away, whatever. So yeah, this would get banished. I mean, technically if you don't have any more targets in the deck, then, you know, you could just guard with this, or it's pretty much dead. There are other things you can do, like maybe if you switch some of these for Daigusto, then return some of them. I don't play Daigusto in there because, well, I haven't really messed with the extra deck. I'm probably gonna take out Crazy Box for Daigusto Emerald, but whatever. Next is Book and Moon. You could turn something face down. I mean, I guess if you can't protect your own monster, or if you can't get over something's attack, put in defense, whatever. 1 Dark Hole destroys all opponents or all monsters on the field. 2 Forbidden Dress. I actually really like this card because this card right here is good. but it protects every monster. It's more like a thing that you want to do for like 3 monsters instead of just 1. Granted, most people do it for 1. So using Dress is still a lot better too. Granted, doesn't protect you from being banished, so you might want to worry about that. But this does protect you from getting destroyed or targeted, so good thing. I definitely recommend 2 of them. You don't have to run 2, you don't even have to run 1, but I personally run 2. Next up is 3 Infestation Pandemic. Basically you activate it and all Evilswarm, well, if it says Evilswarm, I'm just gonna say Evilswarm. But all Evilswarm monsters you control are unaffected by spells and traps, which is really good because you can attack like you can pretty much swarm with this deck really easy. Like if you haven't figured it out, you special summon this card, and then you can normal summon this card, then you activate its effect to normal summon again. You summon this guy, you banish a Evilswarm from the grave and add like, I don't know, maybe you add Heliotrope, and then you summon Heliotrope to the field. That would be 4 monsters on the field. Then you can go for like Ophion if you want to, just attack, yada yada. You could even go for Thunderbird. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. It's more shown off in a tools that I'm going to be doing. But basically, you know, there's a lot of combos like Castellars and yada yada. Make sure you're not doing anything synchro based and yada yada, because it can be very, very unhelpful for this deck, as this deck prevents level 5s or higher from being special summoned. That's why you don't play BLS in this deck. Or try to, at least. I mean, you could, but I don't see a point to doing that. MST. Or, wait, before I go into MST. So basically, as I was saying, you attack all your monsters, and your opponent goes, oh, okay, I'm gonna just Mirror Force you. You just go Infestation, and you're protected. Oh, you have D-Prison, Infestation. If you have Magic Cylinder, Infestation. Granted, this doesn't protect you if you don't activate it before a counter or a spell speed 3, which I don't think, yeah, negate attack would still go off. I think, I don't know, there's like a lot of rulings and stuff, but basically this doesn't outspeed a level or speed spell 3 so much as in this deck. I hope you guys understand. So yeah, basically immune to spells and traps. Any Evilswarm monster. Anything else like Rabbit is not protected. So 2 MST gets rid of back row, honestly. For a little more draw power, we have Reinforcement Army. You can add Caster, and that's pretty much what you would add. Nothing really much more for draw power. You don't want duality because of the special summoning you would be doing in this deck, and you don't really. You could do 1 day of peace, I guess, but I don't see why you would. And Lure of Darkness, you really kind of want to keep your Evilswarms in your hand. Well, not always, but you want to kind of keep a consistency of Evilswarm. So Lure of Darkness kind of hurts the deck a little bit. I don't really care for it because it gets rid of my options. So no Lure of Darkness, but I mean, if you want it, you can. 1 Bottomless gets rid of stuff that are 1500 or more attack. 1 Cabals bounce back like XYZ. As I said, is an anti-meta based kind of thing. 2 Phoenix Chain, you don't really, I mean, you could run effect Veilers, but Phoenix Chain is pretty good. It stops effects activating and your opponent can't attack and stuff like that. So yeah, 2 Phoenix Chain just for like anti-meta based stuff. Next up we have Infestation Infection. Just 1. You don't really need more than 1. The reason you don't have more than 1 is because I don't really want to have like 2 of them on the field. But anyways, I don't know if they would interact with each other, like if you activate one of these. Well, no, actually they wouldn't stop each other. Okay. Never mind. Anyways, so you can shuffle one Evilswarm, well, Evilswarm from your hand or face up on the field into the main deck and add one Evilswarm from your Evilswarm monster from your deck to your hand. So you might be asking why in the good name would you want to do that? Well, one, from the hand you can basically get other stuff and do some more shenanigans because you get to choose what Evilswarm you want. But you might be asking why you want to do it from the hand or the field. Well, let's get into a situation where technically you don't have like Forbidden Dress, or you don't have Pandemic, or you get Venus Chained because you summon Caster and then you can't summon more stuff, or you get deprisoned because you're attacked or something like that. So basically what this does for you is it lets you get like a second chance kind of thing. Basically you return that monster back to the deck, so it voids the trap card or the spell card from Dark Hole. Yes, you know, whatever. I don't think this works for the XYZs, but I don't know. There was another trap card that's like this, where it's like banish one of your monsters and return 2 cards your opponent controls to the hand, which I thought was pretty cool, but it didn't work out too much. So yeah, you return the card back, and then lo and behold, you can add the same card back. I mean, it's not stopping you from adding the same monster back to your hand. So 2 Mirror Force, basically to protect you. You can take one out and take one out and do 2 prison. I can't even speak English today. But you know, 2 Mirror Force, you don't really need too much more protection. Basically, it destroys all your opponent's monsters and attack. Next up, we have Mistake. Keep in mind, Mistake will prevent infection from activating, so that is something to keep in mind. And when you have Ophion, it prevents them from adding this card, or even this card right here. So, good thing to keep in mind. Anyway, so we have Mistake. As I said, this is more of an anti-meta stuff. It prevents either player from adding cards from their deck to the hand, except by drawing, of course. So you might be asking what I have this in here for. Well, one, I'm not adding like a billion cards to my hand. Granted, Ophion does add Infestation, but you would obviously activate that first and then activate Mistake. And obviously we don't care if this gets negated, but you know, Mistake. So basically what this would do is it would stop like, I don't think it stops Castellars, Lanteans, it might stop a little bit, so I don't know. But this deck pretty much stops the Lanteans first off. So with the added bonus of not being able for your opponent's Dragon Rollers to not be summoned at all, with Ophion on the field, you can add this too, and then they're like, okay, well, I'll banish my Blaster. I believe his name is Blaster, or Tempest, or Redox, or whatever you want to use. So then your opponent's like, I will banish it. Wait, where's my card? Well, Mistake prevents them from adding stuff. You don't have to worry about it getting destroyed by a monster. Your opponent has to waste like an MST to get rid of it, so they don't worry about the other traps. But you know, I mean, we run 2 just so MST doesn't stop it fully. Anyways, so yeah, it prevents Dragon Rollers from adding other stupid things like more Dragon Rollers. Stops adding debris, adding, I don't know what they would add. Stops Evil or Fire Fist from doing 10 keys. It stops Bujins from adding, or wait, I don't know how Bujins actually work, to be honest. I think they discard one and add one to their hand, so I think it stops that too, which is really good if it does. And it stops, what the fuck are they called? It stops spell books in their tracks too, because not only does Ophion prevent anything level 5 or higher from being summoned, but it stops like spellbooks from going spellbook to secret and get another card, or Star Hall, or whatever it's called. That lets you get more cards, so pretty good. Other decks you should really worry about when it comes to this. I guess anything that involves searching, whatever. Basically spellbooks, I guess Bujins, and spellbooks, Bujins, Dragon Rulers, not really Castellars, I don't think. I don't remember. Basically anything that searches would be stopped. 10 key, obviously. 10 keys on a deck type, but you know, 10 key gets negated by this. The effect of searching, of course. So yeah, if you had problems with that, Mistake is probably something you want to run. Safe Zone. Basically, you target one of your opponent, or you target a monster on your side of the field, or your opponent's side of the field, and that card cannot be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects, or destroyed by battle if your monsters can't attack directly, but your opponent can. And when this card leaves the field, destroy the monster equipped with that card. Basically, you would make this little card over here, Key Beetle, to protect it, and then you can also protect Ophion's as well. But basically, if you don't know about the lock, if I can find Key Beetle again, basically Key Beetle can protect one card from being destroyed, and Safe Zone does the same thing. So basically they protect each other, and your opponent can't get rid of like Key Beetles, which at a time was very annoying to deal with, because how do you get rid of this if you can't, you know, get past that lock? So anyways, one solemn warning, we know what this does. 2000 life points to stop a summon. Tribute, blow up all monsters in the field. Be careful about your monsters, of course. You could Infestation to protect Ophion if you need to. So that's why I like Dark Hole Torrential, because this card prevents Ophion from being destroyed, and better yet, even Forbidden Dress. And a fun thing you could do, actually, is summon your own monster and then Torrential Tribute. Blows up all your opponent's monsters. You would Infestation, of course, and protect all your monsters, and your opponent doesn't have anything to stop you. So, and then you attack, and your opponent's like, oh, I'm Mirror Force. Oh, wait, no, Infestation. So, yep, pretty good. One XYZ Reborn, bring back an XYZ monster from the grave and special summon it with this card attached to it, which is really good because if you use all Ophion's attachments, your opponent then gets a special summon anything they want, from what I remember. So yeah. It's pretty much Evilswarm, so let's go into the extra deck. This extra deck isn't really my extra deck, it's just some extra deck I borrowed for Evilswarm. Because I'm going to probably switch out like Crazy Box for Deck Gusto. And switch out, I might keep Dweller in, I don't know yet. But anyways, Dweller basically negates things from activating in the grave. So Dragon Rulers can't really do much in the grave then. Diamond Direwolf, that's what it does. Tribute a beast and destroy a card on the field. Obviously, tribute itself. Bahamut. Basically, its thing is you detach one, discard an Evilswarm for your hand, of course Evilswarm, but whatever, and take control of an opponent's monster. You need to Evilswarm to summon this card, but I really like it. It's kind of like Big Eye, except less is needed, and you can basically attack with this card as well. Next up is Ophion, the main beast of the deck. Basically, its thing is, as long as this card has material, you and your opponent cannot special summon anything level 5 or higher, which, I mean, if you look at the deck, there is nothing that's 5 or higher. Anyways, so Next, you detach one and add an infestation spell or trap. Personally, I like to add the pandemic, but you can add the infection if you want. So yeah. Also, another thing is, even if you do go all attachments out, and then this card gets destroyed by Blaster, you can bring it back with XYZ Reborn, and this card would basically be stopping your opponent again. One Ouroboros. Not really sure about this card. I don't know if I care for it. I don't really make it, but you can, because you can summon like 4 monsters in one turn. Anyways, so once per turn you can detach one XYZ from this. You could detach one material from this card and get one of these effects. Okay, so anyways, so you target one. You can target one of your opponent's cards and return it to the hand. Send one random card from your opponent's hand to the grave, or you can target one card in your opponent's graveyard and banish that target. Stops Bujin's pretty good. You really don't want to do that to Dark Worlds if you're going. Oh no, send one random, not. Okay, good. I thought it said discard, which would be bad. But, oh yeah, this deck also shuts down Dark Worlds as well. The only thing you really have to worry about is Grapphas, but, you know, stops Dark Worlds. Other than that, not too much to say. This does stop Bujins, it hurts Fire Fist, whatever. I mean, I don't make it too much, but it's there. One guy got a Cowboy, because, you know, why not? 2 Evolvable Chain, basically searches out the deck a little quicker. I might switch one of these for Daigusto, one Mistroke, because it's Mistroke. Black Ship of Corn, we've been over this. It gets rid of annoying things. Key Beetle, you can activate this effect to protect something from being destroyed by card effects. So yeah, and if this face-up card on the field will be destroyed, you can send one of its targets to the graveyard instead. I don't know, because I don't really make this either, but it's there. And Crazy Box if someone does skill drain, but I'm probably gonna take it out because no one does skill drain from what I remember, other than Dark Worlds. Before I go into this part of the deck, you could run D-Fissure and Macrocosmos in this deck to stop Dark Worlds and whatever, but if you're not running into many of them, I wouldn't worry about it, so yeah, keep that in mind. Also, another thing about materials and D-Fissure. When a material is sent to the grave, it's not counted as a monster, so D-Fissure doesn't send it to the remove from play zone, so that's something to keep in mind. But, sorry, my throat's kind of getting dry. But if you have Macrocosmos and a material is sent to the grave, it gets banished because Macrocosmos banishes anything that goes to the grave. Little fun fact. So one Dark Armed, it's there. I took it out because it didn't do anything, but I have an extra deck just because, side deck, because it does stuff for darks. 2 effect failure if you need it. I don't really need it. Change it for the spells and traps. You do notice that we're playing 16 monsters. I like to get less monsters. Like, you know, pretty much the only ones you need are Thunderbirds, Mandragoras, Kirk, Casters, and if you really want to, Heliotropes. Pretty much these are the only ones you would need in Evilswarms. The other ones are just there to be there. So, you know, you might ask why I don't have some other thing that lets you bounce something back to the hand. Because you don't really need them. I mean, people are playing Salamander, I think it is. But, you know, it doesn't matter. 3 Max C if you need more draw power. It could be a thing if your opponent's doing a bunch of special summoning. 1 Thunder King, basically mistake, but it's at 1. Also can negate a special summon, so. 1 Eradicator Epidemic Virus. Basically you tribute 1 Dart 2500 and you choose spell or traps and your opponent loses those for 3 turns, kind of like Crush Card for spells and traps. So basically why I like that is because when Ophion runs out of materials, you go into Eradicator and destroy your opponent's spells or traps, whatever, and then you XYZ Reborn your Ophion and do some shenanigans. It's not in the main deck because I honestly don't want to do that all the time. Light Imprisoning Mirror, just in case if you run into like Lightsworn, which Judging Dragon's annoying. Keep in mind, Ophion's not special summons, not normal summons, so it's not as good as there's a card that prevents Crimson Blighter, but it's easier to bring out, so it works for how it's supposed to. So yeah, you stop Lightsworn and Boojins with this, and I mean agents, but I don't really see agents, so yeah, pretty much this stops all light monsters. Of course, as I said before, they are playing a dark monster deck, except for this and whatever else that is like XYZ in here. So having this pretty much is good because this deck is an anti-meta deck, so it pretty much stops like the meta-based stuff like Dragon Rulers, Lightsworn, Spellbooks, and yes, even Atlanteans or whatever they're called now. Atlantean, Mermails, something like that. Not really XYZ based decks, which is why this deck kinda gets a not a 10 out of 10, because of course XYZs are still a thing and can stop a lot of things from this deck. I mean, this stops levels, but it doesn't stop like Ring 4 XYZ decks like Fire Fist. So pulling the rug is also another interesting thing. You can negate the activation of effect monster whose effect activates in okay, what the heck am I saying? Negate the activation of an effect of a monster when I'm just gonna read the card. Negate the activation of effect of an effect monster whose effect activated when a monster was normal summoned itself and destroy that effect monster. Now I don't really know what this was. It was just recommended by like Evilswarm players for extra deck. I don't know if I really care for it. I guess it's for Monarchs if you really think about it, or even Castellars. Anything that basically normal summons and activates, so yeah. I want to put a macro and a defissure in here, but yeah, I probably can take two of these out and put them in there. And one Soul Drain, because basically this is actually a really good card. It's like Skill Drain, but for the graveyard, and yeah, for the Banish Zone and the graveyard. So you pay 1,000, monsters in the graveyard and the Banish Zone cannot activate their effect. Start a chain, and if you don't know what starting a chain is, it's when you do MST, and then that is Chain Link 1, and then you would go Chain Link 2 into Book of Moon, Chain Link 3 into Forbidden Dress, whatever. So yeah, that prevents that. It's basically for Dragon Rulers. You probably want that in the side deck just in case. And also Mermails and Boojins, I believe so. So anyways, this deck, as an anti-meta deck, I'm not going to consider it into the meta or any other fashion of rating it. I give it an 8 out of 10. Really good. If you really must, you can take this out for a Dark Arm Dragon, but I don't think it's needed. The deck works as, well, an anti-meta deck should work. Actually, you can take out XYZ Reborn for a Thunder King. But anyway, so yeah, this is pretty much Evilswarms. It's 8 out of 10, obviously. I mean, it's not as great as if it wasn't like a synchro-based variant only. But, you know, it does what it does. It shuts down basically things in this and you know, it pretty much works for this game. Now in future games, there's better Evilswarm, like sorry, I didn't itch. Like Caliber Knight or something. I don't remember exactly, where it blows up the whole field. So yeah, it's kind of missing that whole part, but it still works nonetheless. So I hope you guys enjoyed this deck recipe. Go ahead and leave your comment section down below. Anything you want people to know about Evilswarms that I have not gone over in this, go ahead and let them know in the comment section down below. Tell me your thoughts. What did you like? What did you not like? What did you take out? Yada yada. And wow, this video is almost 40 minutes. So catch you guys later.